But all right, here we go. Let's stop.
Stop rubbing your hands together.
It's not my hands. It's actually my elbow.
Well, you rub your elbow almost every fucking broadcast. Cause I hear that same fucking rubbing of your elbow.
How, you tell me this now too?
I mean, I thought you knew that.
No. You got some sandpaper elbows?
Yeah, I thought
actually, dude, they're drier than shit.
I literally thought you was rubbing your hand. Like, you say something, you be like, okay, now we're gonna have a good restart or something.
There are times I will like do this.
Yeah.
That's my hands. Yeah, because I'm like, ready, let's go.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were talking about the chair squeak that you guys always hear, which I do need to put WD-40 on this chair. But
no, I don't hear no chair squeak. I hear keyboard.
Telder references everything.
Clicking.
See, they wanted me to get rid of that. I've been trying to work on getting rid of that noise.
That mouse clicking in the whatever, bro. It's all good, bro.
The following is a special presentation from the Captain Esports Network.
Hey, welcome to the Skala episode 6. I figured out a title. I'm going to call it the Ironman, and there's a reason behind that. Obviously, the captain here with you, Matt Telder, who is busy having fun with a cat. Stephen Miles, who is fresh, not only running 500 miles at Daytona and finishing 15th or something like that, unfortunately. Tough run there, Miles. But the more important news, became a dad for the second time this week.
Yes, sir.
Who came up with the name Boston?
I did. That's my grandfather's name.
Oh, that's fair. I will let that go then. Who came up with Draco?
I did.
What's that one from?
The gun.
Oh, I was thinking more Draco, maybe Malfoy from
No,
Harry Potter.
I don't do that. I was gonna name him. I was just gonna name him Draco, but then I was like, it can't be just Draco Miles. So I just wanted to do something for my dad or whatever, and just name him after my grandfather. So
that's funny.
I mean, I couldn't think of nothing else, bro. I only thought of Stephen II, and I already had him. So I mean, that's gonna be something else.
You being a Philly fan, maybe Boston Scott, I thought could have been in there too.
Oh wow! Oh, my girl wanted to name him Kamara. I was saying, hell no. I never name my child after another man. Crazy. Damn Saints fans, man.
Oh, that's funny. Our special guest this week, and this guy here, the reason why we're calling this the Ironman, he's got more starts in Sim 500 than the three of us have combined probably starts in iRacing period. The man's been racing forever and a day. He's raced on NR 2003 all the way up to now, and even before that, probably played, let me know if I'm wrong, Chad, Bill Elliott's NASCAR, pole position, Kyle Petty, all that stuff from the Nintendo days. But Chad Coleman, who is made all of 1,179 starts in Sim 500, and that's just as of right now, and it's not even counting the NR 2003 days, is our guest here. So hello, Chad. Welcome in. I'm sorry that you have to put up with us for the next little bit.
Yeah, you're right, too. I think probably the first racing game, if you can call it that, was probably pole position with Atari. And then we played the Bill Elliott stuff with Nintendo, and then of course Mario Karts, all that stuff, and NASCAR Racing 3, NASCAR 4, and then 2K3.
There you go. And obviously he's been a part of the Sim 500 all the way back to that 2K3 days, and obviously has done a whole lot of that. So we're going to talk about the Daytona 500 coming up. We'll talk about some other kind of news, league racing updates, and we'll get to know Chad a little bit here as we appreciate him joining us. But Miles, Telder, Chad, even you, race weekend, how was it? Obviously, Super Bowl weekend, if I could say that. I had somebody threaten like FBI stuff on me. I'm like, come on, guy. But how was your weekend of racing, if anything?
I didn't really do much all weekend, to be honest.
You worked on your computer for like the 16th straight weekend.
I moved all my stuff to a different room. I didn't work on my computer, all right?
Which, speaking of his computer, he put his video up, it was last week, and the man has about 73 monitors. He has about 6 steering wheels. and his room looks like his room looks like an operating room for like a TV broadcast compound.
Bet it's good and warm in there.
It's actually in a basement that's all concrete, so it actually is super cool in here. And hold on, first of all,
Here it comes.
my
Here it comes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only have 9 monitors in here. First of all,
Oh my god, bro.
It's hard for me to keep up with what I'm doing with 3.
there's only 4. There's only 4 steering wheels in here.
And who was it in the treehouse that needed a monitor and Telder couldn't offer one?
He wouldn't listen to me anyway. He went and bought his own shit.
That's fair. Clark, we're talking about. That's fair. So, Miles, how was your weekend? Obviously,
I forget what I was even doing, bro. I really
Fair
can't
enough.
remember. All American, OP. I don't remember where I finished. Somewhere up front, probably. And somewhere in the middle. I think All American was crazy. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But Sunday Super Bowl, I watched a little bit of that. Monday hospital, Tuesday hospital. Yeah, hospital, baby. That's all I've been doing.
I can tell you haven't slept much.
I haven't at all.
I know that feeling too.
Miles has his sleep voice on right now. We can tell.
I really did. I really am tired, bro. I really forgot all about this. I'm not
He
gonna
did
lie.
just run 500 miles too in Daytona, which I mean, looking at a computer, it will wear you out a little bit. So, I know about the baby thing. I remember my little one was born on a Monday, or it was a Monday night going into a Tuesday. So sleep deprivation is definitely in existence here. So congratulations again. Yeah, otherwise we're getting ready for Daytona and the 500 after a wild big game, which did you guys get what you expected out of that? I mean,
The usual.
The usual, pretty much.
Expected it. Called it.
Yeah, that's what I expected too.
Should have put money on it. I could have been $1 million on the slick.
so you expected it to go to overtime and
No, I expected
disrespected the Chiefs to win.
I expected the Chiefs to win. I expected it to be 3 points, and I called the score just by saying it. Just called it. I'm mad, bro. It is what it is, though.
what are you mad for?
Cause I could have won some money, man.
I think Alphin's got a guy.
I'm turning into Alpha, man. Cause I win, I lose, then I win. It is what it is.
Well, if you ever get to the point that we're staying up till 5:30 in the morning betting on a high school Catholic Hawaiian basketball team,
Brandon Alphin.
that's what we'll have. That's what we'll have. You might have a problem discussion.
You know what the best news for Chad here is? He lives in Georgia. Those rules don't come into play because you can't bet in Georgia legally.
I'm in Georgia, but
well,
you can play prize picks, and other stuff. But I'm in Georgia, so it is what it is.
That's funny right there.
we got the internet. We'll be all right.
Yeah, we all right.
Oh man, so Kansas City wins. Thankfully, I was pretty happy. Obviously,
Oh, I know you were.
I was definitely nervous as all get out. Believe it or not, I was at a buddy's house and he's like, "Dude, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good." And I'm sitting there. Yeah. Let's move on. I'm not going to brag that much. We got.
So Daytona week. Big
Daytona
things
week
this week. We have numerous drivers running Xfinity and truck race.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few people running ARCA and Xfinity
in the same day.
What is the Suarez for Greenlight Racing? What's that about?
Yeah, Daniel Suarez is going to drive for SS Greenlight, part of a partnership. This is Bobby Daughter's team. He's going to drive.
What series is that in?
This is the Xfinity series.
Oh, okay.
And so he'll run the Xfinity race on Saturday in that car. And I think it's part of a Trackhouse partnership or something.
I'm sure it is at that point.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of hoopla going on there, as I got that on the J-Ski website as he shared that. And then my phone's going to ring because that's just what happens during the podcast.
I think it's done that every week.
I don't know what it is about my wife. Love her to death, but it's like her timing is fantastic with things.
We've had this discussion before too.
Yeah, right. I'll be on the last lap of road race. Phone call.
Yep.
She can't wait. I haven't erect enough yet. But let's see what other.
Yeah, and then
go ahead.
The other big issue or news from Daytona week is Zane Smith and Corey LaJoie are going to run in the truck race.
Yeah, Zane is going to run the McNally truck. That's the one that Chase Elliott drove. I think it was last season, the 35 or whatever. And then LaJoie is going to run for Spire, obviously a net ride. Net ride's going to be like an all-star crew apparently throughout the season.
It's going to be the Kyle Busch truck from the KBM days.
Pretty much, which, I mean, if it runs as good as those trucks, I mean, he might win some races in it, but which would be good for Corey because, I don't know. I mean, Spire is so on the verge now
of making it big.
Exactly.
They have the tools. They have the tools now, the facilities, the chassis, all that stuff. We're going to find out how good Corey LaJoie really is this year, I think.
Which is weird because, like, you go back to last year when Chase got in a fight with Denny Hamlin, that you put LaJoie in that Hendrick car and he struggled. And I think a lot of that was, more him probably adjusting to the way that car is built. But yet he gets into the 7 car and you see Hocevar get in that car. And, I mean, he shines. So I don't know if it's something, because you kind of see this with Eric Jones too. Eric Jones was in the Gibbs car and struggled for the most part. And he gets into this legacy car and runs well.
Yeah,
so I don't know if there's something to that.
I think it's more about crew at that point. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure Gustafson said he messed up that Gateway race too when LaJoie was running that car.
Yeah, Gustafson's not a good crew chief for this new car.
Who has said that before?
I can't believe they didn't get rid of him this offseason.
I mean, credit to him. He won the championship with Chase in 20. But can we not argue that Alan Gustafson, sorry, I'm going to go off track already here. Doesn't happen. It happens a lot. Is overrated as a crew chief?
I don't think he's overrated. I just think he don't know what he's doing with his car. He's past his prime.
Well, I just say this because he had Mark Martin back in the day, didn't win much. He had Jeff Gordon back in the day, didn't win much.
Hold on now.
I'm just saying when Jeff Gordon was when Gordon was with Gustafson, how much did he win?
Hey, he won races, man. And
not nearly as much as he won with Everham, though.
We're gonna skip over Letarte.
Well, no, I'm just mentioning Gustafson with drivers because these are the drivers he had.
But we got to also think about like the newer generation of cars, the competition level, just how everybody. I mean, it was switching up, bro. You got to put in all the factors. Don't just say Gustafson like I ain't gonna put him low. I put him. He's overrated. He's not overrated. Like he can't be overrated.
I just think he's struggling to
right now
keep up with whatever the times are at the moment.
I think part of that too could be the fact that Chase got hurt and you had to put 4 different drivers. Jordan Taylor, forgot about him. 4 different drivers in that car last year, and then I mean you look at now I'm getting text messages. You look at the 48 car, same situation. You put Barry in the car for those few weeks, and Alex Bowman you didn't hear from again. Which, if I remember correctly, was he not the points leader when he broke his back in Larson's wreck?
He was.
Your league, yeah. So I mean,
but that's the thing though too is like even Denny Hamlin said on his podcast that he didn't expect Bowman to come back and really do too much because it was the same injury that Denny had at California, and he said it took him the betterment of a year to start feeling the car again, because I guess he said something along the lines of something about the nerve. A lot of your feel in a car is through like your lower extremities and like your back and stuff while sitting in the seat, and apparently that injury messes up to those nerves that are in there. Take a more than ample amount of time to heal and get back to normal. So I do remember him mentioning that it took him way longer to feel the car again versus being healthy from the injury.
That's interesting because, I mean, out of all the cars, this is the one you probably feel the most because of how rigid it is. That's crazy to think about. So,
oh yeah, in a way, but you got to think a lot of the feel that they had in those older cars was the tires working. These things have low profile tires, so
No,
You
you're
don't
not
really
you
feel
don't feel
much.
you don't get the body roll. You don't get the tire rolling over on itself a whole lot, stuff like that. So
then you got rack and pinion steering, which you don't feel shit through rack and pinion like you would a steering box. So it's just way different stuff.
Interesting.
So we'll see. We'll see how the season plays out.
Yeah.
Let's say other news too, outside of drivers running multiple races and stuff. Another NASCAR big news is they are switching apparel brands.
Yeah, I'm actually on the website right now for 47. They already have like MLB, NFL. I've never heard of these guys. When I saw 47, I'm like, what?
You've seen me, like, you know me, Skala. If you see me, I have a hat on, like, all the time.
Hey.
Of my 200-ish like fitted / snapback hats I have, probably 160 of them are 47 brand stuff.
This man wears a hat to bed.
200. That's a collection.
Yeah.
Hey, for you, Kev, they get Kev. Wow, here I am. Think I'm in the booth on a Monday night. Wow, for you, Chad, they have a Gwinnett Striper one here on the site.
I only wear Georgia hats.
That's fair. They got Georgia. Well, do they have college football? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, they got the Bulldogs.
Yeah, they have a lot of college.
How can you forget it?
How can I forget what?
You know them people gonna have them Georgia Bulldogs up there, man.
Hey, it's like I always joked around with the Georgia fans when I was down there. What are you guys doing wearing Green Bay colors? Or Green Bay logo with wrong colors.
They copied us.
Nice. Just talk about some weird names. So I'm literally on the minor league side topic again. Minor league baseball, real quickly. We got teams out here. Who the Amarillo Sod Poodles? What? Anyways, that'd be a fun subject one day.
I like 47 brand stuff.
Okay.
It's never really done me wrong. So their clothes seem to fit really well. Their hats last forever, it seems like.
I mean, prices aren't
bad.
They are bad. I remember getting hats for like $20.
Oh, dude, you go into the Lids nowadays in the mall, it's $45 for a hat.
And then to get them engraved, it's like a whole another $60.
Oh yeah, like you saw that shark fin Detroit Lions hat that I posted, a few months back.
Mm-hmm.
That was on sale for $37.
You get a Kyle Busch, Richard Childress, Morgan & Morgan hat for $42. Morgan & Morgan for the hat.
Does it got the dude on the front of it?
I wish. Oh my gosh, it's a trucker hat too, by the way. It's got the mesh and everything on the back.
A lot of their hats that are the bent bill style are going to be trucker style ones,
which is cool because that kind of puts an old school feel into the.
See, I need the flat bill line to come out. I don't fuck with any of these bent ones.
Martin Truex in it, huh?
Dude, I like all my hats are like snapbacks or fitted. They're all flat bills.
Like I said, this man, you pick a spot you probably don't wear a hat at. He'll wear a hat to church if he ever went.
I wore a hat to my grandma's funeral.
There you go.
And he gave a speech too. Wow, where's that hat?
Did you take your hat off at least when you did that?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say out of respect at least. I mean, let's see what we got. Hey, Bristol's going back to the red and white walls.
No, we'll get into our thoughts on that a little bit later. But yeah, that was other news. So I'm guessing all the artists are the performers for Daytona.
Oh, I did. Wow, whoever wrote these notes is terrible.
Yeah, I know. You should fire that guy.
I did, in fairness, put at the bottom anything need edited to say something. You guys said nothing.
Well, in your defense, I read through it, and I didn't think to ask then either. I was like, oh, okay.
This is the Chicago Street Circuit lineup.
Oh, okay.
Keith Urban, the Chainsmokers, back from last year because he never got to perform. The Black Keys and Lauren Elena. She's a country singer.
Sounds like a decent lineup for your all-around people, I guess.
Yeah, Lauren Elena is like an up-and-coming country artist.
I don't know about I still don't know about the Chainsmokers part of it. I guess that's to get the younger crowd there to the track, I guess.
Would you rather have him or Marshmello?
I'd rather have Marshmello.
Okay. Because that's kind of the same.
I'd rather have like Cascade or Tiesto or something like that, but I'm not a big chain smokers person. Like,
well,
music's all right. They had those couple big songs, and that was about it.
David Guetta would be cool too.
I'd fuck with that too. David Guetta's good. Deadmau5 would be nice. Like, if you're good, there's a lot better. I guess I don't want to say EDM artists because that's not really what the Chainsmokers are, but they are in a way. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting fucking distracted here.
That cat again.
And then couple points for IndyCar this week.
Yeah, of course, we're recording this on Wednesday, by the way. So there's been one other story that's starting to come out for IndyCar, but they're releasing the 100 Days to Indy later this month on Paramount Plus, which kind of caught me off guard because you think of Peacock being the home of the IndyCar series with NBC, but then I thought about it more, and it's like IndyCar is on CW with this whole 100 Days to Indy. So that would probably be where the Paramount Plus comes out into this or whatever. But that's that stream that they did, like kind of like with F1 and with NASCAR's deal now, where they count down to Indianapolis. And so that's coming out. And then they just released news that apparently Fox is interested in IndyCar, which honestly scares me because I'm not afraid to say that I've been kind of scared of what Fox has done recently with NASCAR. And for the only way I can put it, it seems like the lack of commitment. And maybe I'm wrong there, but when you're sitting there and you have your truck broadcast, once NASCAR switches over to NBC, sitting in the studio with them wearing t-shirt vest or t-shirt tuxedos or whatever you want. I'm joking on that part, but like, I mean, they're dressed up from the waist up just to be on camera. And then otherwise they're looking at monitors covering the race. Is that what we're going to get for IndyCar then if this happens? Or are we going to fully commit to this? I mean, NBC has kind of stepped up the game, I would say, for IndyCar and made them look legit. I mean, at times, again, I've said this before, better than F1. And that's, I mean, apples to oranges because F1's an event. IndyCar's a race.
So wait a minute. Do you think we can get Crofty to yell at IndyCar races? Because that would be phenomenal. That would be legit.
That would be legit. I'm with you on that one.
Because like he makes if you just listen to an F1 broadcast without actually watching it, he makes it sound so much more exciting than it actually is.
Who is it? Oh, it was Kevin last week. We were talking. He said something about Crofty, and we're like, "Oh, that's just Crofty being Crofty."
Yeah. So it's like if you get like to us, if you get somebody like that who can make something so just mainstream seem that exciting through just an audio perspective, what does he do when there's actually an exciting race going on?
So, well, here's the thing. Lee Diffie, I think, does almost just as phenomenal of a job. Now, obviously, he doesn't have he's got the Australian twang where Crofty's English. So I think there's a little difference there. I think Crofty's English, though. But I got to think this one through. Because I think Lee Diffie's phenomenal.
I would prefer Lee Diffie over a bunch of people.
Right. And which I did think about this. Would that open the door for Lee Diffie to take over if like they were to say, hey, Rick Allen?
Oh my God, if you could replace Rick Allen with Lee Diffie, that would be amazing.
Just the thought out there of that. So
I can't stand Rick Allen.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can't really say much to disagree with that. I mean, Rick Allen used to be, I mean, he basically, is it safe to say his voice got him that job? I mean, because he was calling, I think, Nebraska Cornhusker football on the radio before this. Or in obviously Fox.
Between
trucks.
him and Adam Alexander, I don't know who knows less.
And fair enough, I know Adam's a nice guy, I've been told. Like one of the nicest guys to talk to. But anywho, yeah, so that's the IndyCar news on that. So we've covered everything racing news wise. Other than qualifying is going to begin in like 20 minutes as we record this for the Daytona 500. So,
yeah. So and then Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how IndyCar does not have a good track record lately of making positive decisions when it comes to their products, apparently. So
What gave that away?
I'm
The video game issue?
just happy to have him back on iRacing and be able to do stuff with him again.
At least they let Andretti race in their league.
That's fair. It's F1 snobs. But the other big thing is they are moving their season finale race to Nashville Super Speedway versus the middle of the season Music City Grand Prix downtown on the streets of Nashville.
Well, actually, Nashville was supposed to be the final race this year.
Oh, was it? I didn't see the schedule this season. I forgot to look it up. I haven't.
No, it's the first things first, Texas is not on the schedule at all. So good job, NASCAR, for ruining that.
I was shocked.
We can honestly say Texas was one of the funnest IndyCar races to watch every year.
Yep. Which we discussed that a few weeks ago about the whole they didn't want to run there type deal. So
so they moved Nashville to the end of the schedule, and they were actually switching the track up. They were switching the layout to, I think, more into downtown. But something that's gotten in the way from the article I read today was that the Titans are supposed to be getting a new football stadium. And basically, as part of that construction, apparently it's going to interrupt the layout of the track.
Yeah, because it's down there. The section when you come back over the bridge there and there, you come back in and it has that big right hander into like the double left handers down by where the pit entrance is. Where the one where Marcus Ericsson went flying 2 years ago,
and then won the race.
But it's the stadium's like a block and a half from there,
right?
So because the stadium is right in downtown Nashville,
you can't miss it if you're driving up like 65 or 24 into Nashville. It's right in front of you.
It really is right there too. Like it's not I could see it in the distance. No, it's in your face, going down through that highway section, but.
Which I think that's going to give a nostalgic feel for Nashville, because when IRL was, at its point, they ran at Nashville Super Speedway. And, I thought it was some good racing. I mean, should be interesting. It's fun to race on iRacing. I'll say that.
When's the last time their final race was at an oval?
Would be Fontana. I think back like 15, 16, something like that.
Yeah, it's been 7 or 8 years since they finished on an oval.
Because they went to Laguna Seca after that for a couple of years. And
when was their final race at Vegas?
Oh, 2011. That was when Weldon had his deal.
I was thinking that was their last season finale on an oval.
Yeah, no, they ran a 500 miler at Fontana for a couple of years. That was the year where who is it that tumbled on the front stretch on like the final lap? They brought the draft package back, and they were running like they had like almost 60 lead changes in that race, if I remember correctly, or something like that. And somebody tumbled. I cannot remember for the life of me who it was.
That's an awesome track. It sucks to see them screw stuff up. Why couldn't they cut up Texas and make it a short track?
Some questions we'll never find out. Probably answers too. And that was Briscoe is who it was. Ryan Briscoe. That went flipping. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Auto Club. It just seems like there's some quietness there that just seems awkward to me, because I know they've worked with NASCAR iRacing and NASCAR working together to try to build this track, and yet nothing's being said. And it's like, is that because there's something impossible going on, or is there something being hidden? What's going on?
The layout they got sound like a video game track. Martinsville with like massive banking and a D-shaped front straightaway.
Well, I think they were going to use the.
It sounds like a combination. Yeah, it sounds like a combination of Martinsville, Richmond, and Slinger all put together. Is what it sounds like.
The problem is, though, you have a 270-degree corner from the front stretch to the pit road. Something would have to give here. Do you shorten up the front stretch and make it more of a loop into pit road, or I don't know, but we'll let them figure that part out.
I don't think they still haven't figured out. They claim they do. I don't think they do, but
we'll see.
Different combo for a different day.
Yes.
So moving on here, we have league racing. So what happened in the world of league racing this week, boys?
Well, that's a good question, Telder. What happened on your side?
I honestly didn't really race last week.
Again, a reminder, he's been working on his computer for about 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think the only league race I ran wasn't even a league race. It was I ran Sarah Wednesday night, and 100 laps flag to flag at New Smyrna. I started 16th and finished 13th.
It's a disappointing effort for you.
I'm happy with that. I'm not very good at that track to begin with, and I made an adjustment right before the session started on my setup, and I went the wrong way with it. So I fought a car that was just plowing tight at corner entry. So, and then never having got a caution the whole 100 lap race, never got a chance to readjust it back to how I wanted it. So, but in all honesty, like, I'm a decent short track racer. It's a very humbling experience to race Sarah, to know like kind of where I stack up against some of these people and stuff like that. It's like I've learned a lot already, especially like saving when to push, when not to push. Just a lot of different stuff. The late model stock car, it makes you really have to be aware of what you're doing. Like some simple things as dragging a brake 10% through a certain part of a corner that you wouldn't normally brake in, weirdly enough, saves the right front tire, even though you're throwing all the weight to that tire.
Is that because you're keeping the front end down and getting the turn?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it doesn't slide on entry. Like, there's just the car has a bunch of really weird quirks that just make it do weird things. So, yeah. I mean, I'm perfectly happy finishing top 15 in Sarah every day of the week. My first season there, so most of these guys have been running Sarah for 6-7 years since it came out. So
yeah, and you said there are multiple sessions of this, I believe, right?
Yep, there is usually 4 sessions every week for the Contender Series. That's how many cars run that. So
how many cars are in each race usually?
22 to 26.
Usually. So you're roughly so between 90 to 100 cars total.
Yeah, it's usually about like last week. I think there was 104. The week before that, I think there was 111. So
anybody want to know what the biggest short track series around is?
It's definitely that one.
Sarah, is it?
Yeah, it has been for a while.
You ever run it, Chad?
No, I haven't. I know a bunch of people who have, though.
Nice. Well, no, good effort, though. You ran TI too on Tuesday night.
Oh, I did do TI, and I got 4th last week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Atlanta race. 1 caution, Miles won. Congratulations again.
Yeah, I didn't win Atlanta.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. He finished 3rd. I'm sorry. That was the race where I didn't interview 2nd and 3rd because my brain went numb or something. I don't know.
Won.
Casey won that race. Yeah, that's right. Casey won, and Brandon finished 2nd, Miles 3rd, and you were 4th, Telder.
Yeah.
And again, in the notes.
So for reference, Skala, there is 129 people in the point standings for Sarah right now for the Contender Series. I missed week 1, and they haven't put in the drop weeks yet, and I'm sitting 81st in points right now out of 129.
35-40% range. Not terrible.
Well, and of the people who have only ran 2 races that don't have drop weeks figured in, I am 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm 13th from the people who have only ran 2 weeks. Everyone else has started 3 weeks.
They've been to 5 flags yet?
No.
I'm just curious. I'm sure you're licking your lips at that one.
It's not on the schedule this season.
Oh, Telder's going to be petitioning for that track to be on the schedule.
Yep, we have North Wilkesboro tonight, too. So,
ooh. Well, at least you can run multiple grooves there.
Yep.
That'll be fun. So obviously, it's Telder's weeks on the track. We mentioned the TI race at Atlanta only had 1 caution. And that race, obviously, Casey went to victory lane. Miles finished 3rd. Telder was 4th. Once again, only Atlanta just never disappoints. And that was the first race I've seen with the old Gen 4 car with the refresh on Atlanta. And you guys were all over the place.
Yeah, that was It was slick for sure.
The restarts were crazy too. The one at least.
Every time.
I'm gonna win a TI Gen 4 race if I can ever figure out how to pit.
Well, we said that you would probably. At least Miles said you would at the beginning when we did this whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
last night pitted from 6, spat on the exit of pit road, never got another caution.
And that was in the race at Charlotte last night. Yeah.
No, you got a caution, but you pitted right before the caution came out.
But I was 3 laps down at that point, so it didn't even matter because I had the 40-second hold, which put me, 2 laps down, then going long on every pit stop to try and hopefully do that and catch a caution. And like after everybody else had pitted, so I had 2 of my laps back. Twice there could have been cautions. They'd have 2 cautions that had been 1 lap down. And ironically, that last one, Devin got the lucky dog for that last caution, and I was ahead of him had I stayed out and ran that last 2 laps. Then I'd have been back in the lead lap with fresh tires with 6 to go.
And they're talking about the Charlotte race. So this was last night or Tuesday night, so we're actually covering both races at once here. The Atlanta race, obviously, Casey won. Last night, who the heck won last night's race?
It's trying to be funny.
Miles won last night. Wild
Yeah.
race, too. They actually had a good finish at the end. But you know what? Here's the thing, though. You guys haven't had many cautions. I mean, there was only 3, I think, last night, and 2 of them come at the end. Chad's over there like, what are cautions? So the race last night, obviously, Telder and the whole treehouse took each other out pretty much in the second lap of the race. Telder, did you just misjudge?
No, I lifted because everybody in front of me for some reason checked up, and when I lifted, it pulled the car hard to the
car
right.
to the wall. He gets stuck in the wall. He comes off the wall. Dominic Russo spins. Guess who hit Russo? Josh Gannon. And then back here in the back comes Ramsey, who gets turned, and it's like, oh, there's all 3 treehouse cars. So,
if you want the epitome of how the season's gone, that's it right there.
The best part was Ramsey going in the chat, like, dude, why did you check up? That was kind of funny. But
yeah, for some reason the guys in front of me lifted going through the second part of the tri-oval. No idea why. And I'm like,
because when even through the trial, but you got wheel spin and it still want to spin out on you, so people timid on there.
It was in the middle of the sunlight too, so that makes sense.
It was slick. I mean, it don't matter. I mean, when you got worn tires, it don't matter. It's nighttime. It's still gonna do the same thing.
True. But Miles going to victory lane, held off Ether, who passed the Bryson car. Bryson tried his whole Dover thing again, and this time it failed him miserably. Lost a spot in that race.
I didn't know it was gonna happen between them two from that All-Star race a couple of seasons ago.
Bryson totally forgot about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what tripped me
like,
out about
what?
it.
I thought racers don't forget stuff.
If I would have reminded him before the race, it would have been different.
I mean, Kyle remembered it immediately.
Yeah, he did. That's why he got the advantage, because he was driving a little bit harder. He was thinking about that.
Long story short, Kyle and Bryson had a little tussle with each other in an All-Star race a couple seasons ago. It was right during the time where Kyle and I got into a fight at Charlotte, and things were happening at that moment. So, speaking of things happening, the new Atlanta was the truck race Thursday night in TI.
See, I'm at the part of league recap racing here where I'm just going to exit stage left for 5 minutes because I have no business in the rest of this entire conversation.
Oh, you were Friday. We're going to get to Friday in a minute.
I don't want to talk about Friday, okay?
He skipped my Monday. I ain't even bring up Monday.
Well, I'm coming back to Sim 500 and stuff. And
we didn't run Sim 500.
Well, last week.
Oh no, I don't run Mondays. I run Sundays.
Right. And then that's where Chad's here too. We can talk about the Clash and stuff. But so Thursday was a wreck fest at the end, especially. And we had this certain particular truck paint scheme of a bunch of people up front. Basically 6 people with the same paint scheme running 1 through 6. Chad, you want to guess who won?
Who won?
None of them. They all end up finding a way to wreck each other, pretty much. Because as you know, running Atlanta in a truck series on older tires for this restart, it's slick and loose. So somebody clips the apron and it all breaks loose there. And Kyle Ether sneaks in there being the one truck that didn't have the paint scheme and goes to victory lane in the race. But yeah, Miles, you were involved in that mayhem. But thankfully the trucks.
I had to do something, man. I couldn't just let it ride out like that.
But you know what? You were riding in the back. And
I
the
rode
race
in
went
the
green
back.
for a little bit. And actually, we almost made it through green flag pit stops at the New Atlanta, which I've never seen.
Really?
That track gets fun if you run about 30 laps green, give the tires a chance to get hot.
Right. Well, especially at your track temp, because I mean, what was it the B car the last couple of seasons, the Xfinity car or the Cup car, where after about 15 laps, good luck.
Yeah, track temp goes like 142.
Yeah, they actually, because Chris basically put a rule out Thursday. He said, look, if you're going to pit, make sure you're in the bottom line. And I mean, there was one caution from some miscommunication, but otherwise, everybody came to pit road, got off, and I think we ran like one lap, and the caution came out. But it was like the fact that you guys were able to pit off turn 4 at Atlanta, which there's a reason why NASCAR put the rule off turn 3 now, because I mean, you're going to get ran over, and nobody did. So credit to you guys on that for the New Atlanta race. So yeah, Ether wins that one. They're off tomorrow night because the duels are running tomorrow night. So figured it was a good idea, or else nobody will probably show up. And then Friday night, All American ran at Auto Club. Gen 4's at Auto Club there, Chad. That one had some wildness to it. Some great racing when the green flag was going on. Cars all over the place, getting plenty of runs. Topside became the way to go after a while. Surprisingly, not. And Casey Carrington leading over Mark, and he kind of jokes with me and gives me the whole you jinxed me thing, because I said in the broadcast, Whitley is stupid fast. And here he's catching Casey, and they're battling for the lead, and Casey had the car to hold him off. And I said, hey, is this Casey's chance finally to hold off Whitley, which he couldn't do last year? As soon as I say that, his car, like the rear of it, and I think it's the skew of the rear, clips the outside wall, and it literally grabs him. And he comes off the wall and spins himself off Whitley's nose into the turn 3 wall. And I'm just like, you can't make this up. But Whitley didn't win the race either. It ended up going to Thompson, Justin Thompson, who got his first win in that league. And that's a former. Did you ever race with Justin, Chad?
I think so.
He said he's a former pro driver. I don't remember his name. He said he ran back in the Pro Series back in the day.
Oh, I don't know. There's a bunch of people I didn't know that ran pro.
That's fair. But he wins the race. Telder gets into a last lap wreck. I hope he hears us. Matthew Weeks kind of clears him out. And Chad earlier talked about off the air about the old version of these K&N cars used to, you just touch the rear end and somebody would end up underneath the other car. Well, that's basically what happened to Telder. He ended up on top of Matthew Weeks' car and spun around. So that's basically how that all ended on that side. So that's all the non-Sim 500 leagues. I saved Sim 500 Monday for last because Chad's involved in this. Of course, the Clash was the week before, and then we get into the dual races that were ran Monday night. We're going to cover both of them here at once, but the one main theory, which, by the way, Wesley Donaldson wins both the Clash and his duel, and then, of course, Brian Macklin, who made it all of a combined, I think, a corner and a half in his 2 heat races for the Clash, who's won 3 straight Daytona 500Ks, wins the first dual race. So he finally gets out of that little slump that he was in during that little stretch and gets to victory lane, which was like, okay, he's finally going to be here, I think, now for the 500 to potentially get that 4-peat. But the main thing in that race that came into play is the way that the cars were running. And Chad, obviously, you know a lot about these cars, obviously with your history on iRacing and stuff. Explain basically how these cars were hooking each other, even though there was about a 6-inch space at least, which almost made it look like net code, but it really wasn't net code, so to say.
Yeah, it was we've had the issue before with iRacing where they come out with different body styles and stuff, and basically they just don't get the contact boxes exactly right. So you wind up with basically what is prediction code, which the game thinks your car is somewhere and it's not. It's a little further in that direction, and we saw a bunch of contact with that through the clash and through our duels, to where you would think you've got that, I don't know, 6-7 pixels, half a tire width between you and the car to your inside or outside, which that's cutting it really close. But in our world of netcode that we have, but I mean that's cutting it really close. But then you add that with the netcode, and yeah, we had a lot of problems of getting into each other when we actually weren't touching.
Nah, and it was obviously creating cautions, which I think partially, or at least we think partially, led to this update that came out yesterday on iRacing Tuesday. And Miles, I bring you in now because you ran the iRacing Daytona 500 and just completed about 30 minutes to an hour ago. Did you talk about the racing you were a part of? Because it seemed like that it's going to be very tough to pass. Track position might be everything.
I mean, yeah, track position is everything, but it also comes in who's pushing and how good of a group you have with you. It's just all about that. But I learned that man, that side drafting and all that like that is coming bigger and bigger every update. It seems like racing every single day in these over refresh, bro. Just at first I didn't believe it. I remember a couple podcasts ago, I didn't think about it. I just figured everybody was just in their heads, but now I'm starting to feel it, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't know. It's hard to grasp that 500 because I felt like everybody was fast. It just depended on if you lost a draft by that 1 or 1.2 seconds, and after that, it don't matter how many people got behind you, you wasn't making ground in the lead pack. So I'm
So,
gonna
go ahead.
I'm gonna give it another shot in 1 hour though.
Yeah, he's going to go for it again. But so basically, what I get out of that is it sounds like the side draft part's fixed. Sounds, but of course, we'll have to see next Monday. But the side draft's going to be huge. But the one thing we did see, Chad, in the dual races last night is especially the second one, because the first one was wild. And as Mike Joy will reference probably 3 or 4 times tomorrow night, the second duel is never like the first. And that's what we saw in the second race. They went single file for a good amount.
Yeah, I think someone was watching the race that we were in and figured they'd ride for a little while before they got stupid. I mean, pretty much right off the get go, we all pretty much basically between the three of us. I think it was me and Beasley and Kevin the Brown was in the same race, and we went into that race and said, you either want to start in the front or you want to start in the back because
Right.
you don't really want to be in the middle. So we were steering wheel or trophy, and we came out hugely on the side of steering wheel.
Yeah, you were involved in a couple of those, especially when the Wortman deal was unfortunate. You tried to push for, and that was another thing we talked about. Is it seems like the draft window, I guess I'm trying to think of a good term for this, but it's almost like the middle third of the car. Like you can't get to the left rear side and you can't get to the right rear side, or it's almost like the side draft window is a lot bigger than it should be, and you can almost be behind a car and find a way to side draft it back.
Yeah, we figured that one out the hard way during the clash. Kevin was pushing Tyler. We started 1, 3, and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin was pushing Tyler, but he was offset to his right rear, like you would want to be. He had half his car poked out, so you could push without getting it hot. And we proceeded to go 1, 3, 5 to like 14, 15, 16 before we made a lap. So, I mean, the only way I could figure that happened is because of that. And then through some more, running some more of these other races and testing and stuff, we figured out that seems to be one of the issues. Like you can't offset way out to the right like you used to, because now it's like if you get a lot of your car to the right rear, it's almost acting like side draft, just sucking you both back.
Just puts a lot of drag in a car or something. It's kind of weird.
Yep.
How that's working out. But no, we'll see how that works out. But that's Monday night, the Daytona 500K, which Chad will be in. It'll be fun watching you come from the back a little bit. But
yeah, I got to figure out some kind of strategy for that because it's hard to pass.
Yeah, especially as remember, because this is going to be in the middle of the daytime. Track temp's going to be over about 130, if not more. So handling doesn't look like too bad of an issue, does it? Unless you're on the bottom.
No, not too bad. The only thing is back where we're starting, there's a bunch of damn squirrels in between us and the front.
Yeah,
and you're trying not to get your nuts stepped on.
That happens sometimes. So, well, hopefully it doesn't happen to you. And obviously Macklin goes for 4 in a row, and Chad tries to get his first win. You didn't think I would know this. Chad trying to get his first Cup win since Talladega 2022.
Mm-hmm. Been a minute.
Been quite a minute. But
been really close. Just ain't got there.
Hey, Dale, before he won his race, his last win was 96, I think, at Talladega. Went winless in 97, won the 598. Something like that, if I remember correctly. So, hey.
That'd be good.
Right? So, yeah, so that's coming up on Monday night. So, Telder, make it back yet?
Yeah, I'm here.
I was going to say, what were you doing?
What was I doing?
You said you were walking away for like an hour.
I said 5 minutes.
All right, close enough. Anyways, let's talk Daytona 500. Of course, qualifying is literally going to begin in like 10 minutes for the Great American Race at the Speedway. And Chad hit me with a nugget earlier, and this might influence the two of you when it comes to picks later on when we do our first ever official picks for the ScalaCast. Chad, what did you come across recently in a stat that could be fascinating here?
Oh, well, since Earnhardt died, it was February 18th. They've been 2 races held since that fell on February 18th. Both those races were won by RCR cars with Kevin Harvick and Austin Dillon. And we're thinking that this is either Kyle's 19th or 20th Daytona 500 start. So it'd be kind of fitting if he came off turn 4 and you had Kevin Harvick and Mike Joy calling 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration for Kyle Busch winning the Daytona 500.
You can't make this stuff up.
I feel like Earnhardt would turn over in his grave hearing that.
I would just love to see the Earnhardt fans explode. Dude, it'd be awesome.
I think it would be a hell of a lot worse if this was like 5 years ago than it was now, because Kyle almost competed for the most popular driver last season because everybody liked him all of a sudden after he left the whole Gibbs deal. So I don't know. I would be okay with Kyle Busch winning this race. I mean, the man's earned it. The chance to go to. I mean,
I don't think you see too many people object to him winning.
He's been close.
He's been close.
He's what was the stat last year after, like, he's led the field to the green white checker 5 times, I think.
Well, last year he said the quote on the air. He goes, "Hey, 98,500, I win right here."
Like when you look at his last couple of 500 starts over the last 6-8 years, it really kind of would remind you of the whole Earnhardt story after the race. What happened this year? Well,
yeah.
I
mean, yeah, and then the one Harvick won. I mean, he was running 3rd inside lane in the 5 car and spun out. That brought the caution out, which everybody remembers for Boyer being on fire in a Jack Daniels car.
Yeah, Mark Martin was leading all the way to the line, and NASCAR would not throw the caution.
Yeah, and I think Mike Joy referenced that too in the call of the finish. He said no yellow.
Boyer's upside down for the last 1,000 feet into the grass. Martin's leading probably 50 feet from the start-finish line. Harvick noses him out. Yeah. I wanted to see Martin win that race.
That would have been cool. That would have been really cool.
Well, while we're on the topic of the 500 real quick, I only have about 15 more minutes and I'm going to have to go bounce for league racing. So should we do our 500 picks right now?
We can.
So
Who go first? Who go
I
first?
still-
Skala,
I still-
Skala
I
go
st-
first.
I still get to go first because we have not had another race, and I was still third place.
Well, we picked our dual winners, right?
Yep.
Okay.
But because they have not ran another race yet,
All right.
and because Miles already took Bush for the Gatorade Dual race, I am going to take Bush for the 500.
That is crazy, but I got something to back.
I know what kind of move they call that, a Richard move, if you will.
I got something to back that up.
Yep, Miles would be second.
Jeff Gordon, you can't pick.
I'm second.
Yep, Miles, you are second.
I'm going with a very, like, if he do it, it's gonna be like a slap in the face. And what do you say? I beat all your favorite drivers. I'm going with Denny Hamlin. I'm going with Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin hot right now, man.
That'd make it, 4 for him and put him tied second all
Yeah.
time?
Yeah. But,
So-
I mean, I want to go with a Ford, but I already went with Joey at the class, so I'm going to go ahead and go with Denny.
Here's the thing you guys are forgetting. With the regular season starting, you can only pick one driver for the 26 races.
Oh, I'll ride with Denny. I'll ride with Denny now.
That's that. I have no
So-
regrets about
so
picking.
you
Kyle
lose
Busch.
Kyle Busch So you lose Kyle Busch for 26 races, and then you lose Denny Hamlin for 26 races.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, see?
Oh, y'all doing the elimination type deal where you can only pick
Right.
them? Yes.
Careful how you do this.
I'm a Hendrick Motorsports type of guy, so I gotta choose.
You want to change yours, Miles? Well, I'll let you change it.
Nah,
What you got?
I'm riding with my decision. I'm riding with mine.
I'm good with mine. Scholar, what do you got?
Man, I'm about to throw everybody a curveball here.
Oh,
Hey,
go with?
what's the forecast on Sunday?
Rain.
Rain. The last shortened Daytona race. Anybody remember this? And I'm not talking about the 500.
Dang.
It was the July race, wasn't it?
Uh-huh. Who went to victory lane?
Oh, we talked about this earlier.
Wasn't it Austin Dillon?
No, that race finished.
I
I will
might gotta get
take
it.
Justin Haley as my pick.
You. All right, you go.
I'm
man.
gonna throw the pick out that, you know what, I probably won't touch him the rest of the season. And you never know. You just never know at Daytona. Remember the last three winners: Ricky Stenhouse, Michael McDowell.
Hold
Austin Cindric.
on. Say it again. You said if you pick him right now, you can't use him for the rest of the season.
You can't
Exactly.
use him to the playoffs. You can't use him to the playoffs.
Why do I need Justin Haley?
Hold on, Telder, we might need to rethink this. real quick.
Nope.
Hey, I think this is
Kyle,
official.
This is Kyle Busch's year.
But still, I can't lose Denny for the rest of the season, though.
So this is where I've watched DVC or listened to them, and I've learned how their process is.
I haven't been keeping up, so I gotta go back.
So,
I gotta go back. I can't pick Denny right now. Then,
who are you going to pick? JJ Yaley in a 44 car? Is that what you're going to do?
nah, I'm gonna ride with Denny because we ain't gonna win Darlington probably. I gotta keep my options up. Nah, I go with Denny.
All right.
This man's more undecisive than I am.
So-
Hey man, I've been betting every day, man. My mind. Oh, let me check my bets.
So for everyone listening right now, dual races again. What, Thursday night? Thursday night, right? Run it.
Yeah.
I have Alex Bowman. Miles has Kyle Busch, and Skala has Brad K. And then for now the 500, I have Kyle Busch. Miles is riding with Denny Hamlin, and Skala is taking the dark horse of Justin Haley.
So,
Like you told Josh Berry.
so
in the
Chad, just to
class.
clarify, the dual picks don't count.
Facts.
So they're just bonuses.
Yeah.
So that's why I went Brad K. And just remember, I won with Kyle Busch at the Clash.
Yeah, you did.
All right. We covered everything. We didn't do facts or cap, and I noticed on the review sheet I didn't put anything on here this week.
I don't think we really had any wait, we gotta get Chad's picks. Who's your Gatorade dual pick, and who's your Daytona 500 pick?
Dual pick, I'll take Chase just for the Georgia factor, and for 500, I'll go with Busher.
I like the Busher pick.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
like the
Those are
Busher pick.
Those are two solid picks.
I like the Busher pick. I like the
Yeah.
Busher pick.
So
Now, do I think Haley's going to win this or Yaley's going to win the race? By the way, no. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Oh, I was
I'm just
finna
going
say.
with my pick.
Yeah.
No, he's won a lot of plate races. He's a very good plate racer. So like, it's not a far fetched pick by any means.
Yeah, here's the fact that can we understand Rick Ware Racing winning a Daytona 500?
Oh my god!
I'm just throwing that out there too.
You know, it's about the same as when Jeremy Clements won the Xfinity race 2 years ago.
In fairness, though, Jeremy's a pretty good car owner and stuff. I mean, I remember Rick Ware had pretty much every wreck in the Mazda race and anything in the road racing in Daytona.
It was in the 51 car. Clements did that too.
That's fair. That's fair. So go ahead.
Since we don't have facts or cap, we are going to start a new thing here.
Uh-oh.
It is called red light, green light.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So basically, the way it's going to work is instead of because the way facts or cap work was like, okay, yep, we think this is going to happen. We don't think this is going to happen. But there's not, unless we recap it, stuff like that, there's not really a whole point to it. With red light, green light, we're going to bring up a couple topics of stuff like something in the news, something in iRacing, something like that. And you're going to get each person's going to get a chance to pick red light or green light. Red light meaning you disagree or you don't like it. Green light meaning you agree, you like it. And then you can explain why you chose that.
Okay.
So, for instance here, first thing, Bristol, we brought it up earlier. Bristol is repainting all of their walls back to a classic red and white look versus the all black Great Coliseum wall. For me, this is a green light. I like this. I agree with this. I like bringing the retro vibe back. With North Wilkesboro coming back and everything like that, them starting to kind of go back to the roots and stuff. I like the switch back to the red and white wall. I think it fits a lot better.
Are they going to put the Michael Waltrip gate in turn 2?
Oh, God.
I green light this also. Side note for Telder, it's not going to make any difference if you hit in the wall what color it is in iRacing, by the way.
Facts.
So I'm green lighting this too. I think part of it is that is the retro look to it. I always thought with the black wall at Bristol on the concrete, there was never anything. It's kind of like putting the concrete on the track at Dover, and you never really ever had a yellow or white line at the bottom. So you never knew exactly where the edge of the track was to the wall. And I felt that for the black wall at Bristol, you had to have some kind of line at the bottom. If it was just a simple white line or a yellow line or something. So that, and I think I've heard drivers mention this before, where the car, you would kind of see where you are on the track and not just go right up and hit the wall. So I think the red and white will, I think you're still going to have a little bit of, when you get to the wall, you're going to see like it's going to kind of blend in with each other. But I think the red could contrast it a little bit. And I think they're obviously used to the white wall a little bit more than a solid black wall around the track.
Yeah, you're really going to see who gets into it at that point. Miles, what do you think? You red light or you green light?
Is it like a yellow light? Or like, like, can a yellow light be like, it don't matter to me, I'm gonna run the track? I mean, it really don't matter. I'll choose yellow light, bro. I like Bristol because it's Bristol, man. It's like I don't care what color the wall. It could be yellow like Charlotte. I just like Bristol, so I mean it's up to them. But I mean I go green light for y'all's sake, whatever y'all like, I like. So
yeah. What do you got, Chad? What do you got?
I go with green, and the thing I'll say about that is I hope when they do it, that they do it white and then stripe it red with the diagonal stripes, because for me that gives like a sense of speed deal.
Yeah.
You kind of see the speed. And side note, when qualifying came on, Mike, and they showed Kyle Busch, Mike Joy said 20 years of trying. Kyle Busch. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god! The only thing he needs now is that lucky penny, right? That Dale got.
Dude, I had to rewind the TV to hear it to make sure I heard.
Hey, congratulations, Carson Holsevar. By the way, he's going to be on the poll for like a minute. He said that in a tweet too.
No, jeez. All right. So next item. We talked earlier about all the drivers that are running down series for this weekend. All the people that run on trucks, Xfinity, stuff like that. Red light or green light, Cup drivers should only be allowed to run in the Cup race. I'll let you go first, Skala.
Man, this has been a topic for years too.
Yeah.
I go red light here, just based off the wording of the question, because it's Daytona, and you're going to see Cup cars run the Xfinity race, or Cup drivers run the Xfinity race on Saturday, and some might compete well, some might not. The one thing, though, you're not going to see is the main drivers for the most part running. I mean, Suarez, I think, might be your biggest name. I haven't seen the entry list when it comes to Cup guys running in that series. A lot of them, I think, more because ever since the Kyle Busch deal back in 2015 when he broke his leg, the one thing that people get mixed up, and this has been referenced a lot, I think, I don't remember if it was Dale Jr. or if it's whoever met Steve Letarte maybe, or it might have been Larry McReynolds. One of them mentioned this, but Chad knows this too from back in the nostalgic days. Back in the old Busch days, the Cup drivers ran their own cars. They didn't run for Richard Childress. They didn't run for Hendrick or whatever. That were their own cars. Like Earnhardt had his own car, Davey Allison had his own car. I know Mark Martin drove for Roush. That was the 60 car, was a Roush car. So that's what made that part fun. But now you've got the Cup teams are coming down with their own cars with all the technology and the feedback and stuff. That's what allowed these Cup drivers to just get in the car and dominate. That's where the whole, yes, keep them out of the Xfinity series came into play. But for Daytona and stuff like that, even field, yeah, let them race, because the draft can be a whole nother monster.
So, for the record, there are 3 Cup drivers running the Xfinity race.
That's it.
Daniel Suarez, John Hunter Nemechek, and what was it? Who was it? Chandler Smith.
Oh, that ain't bad.
Chandler's a Georgia boy too, Talking Rock.
But you also have, like we talked about, LaJoy and stuff like that. They're running the truck race too. So you have other people down in the lower series. Miles, what do you got? You got red light, green light on this?
Green light.
You think it should be? You think they should only stay in the Cup Series?
Oh no, red light.
For what reason? Like, why do you think they should be able to run down series like that?
I think, if you took away Cup drivers, it'll be the best of them. I think when you sprinkle in the Cup drivers, they give you a measuring stick of how far you got to go to really compete with one of the best of the best, because you see middle tier or low tier Cup drivers go to Xfinity and still get their butts handed to you, So when you get Kyle Busch or somebody out there, which, Kyle was dominant, because, that's Kyle Busch, but that was a measuring stick. They have to still, I feel like it helped them learn even more than just running with the same people and then going to Cup Series and then really, finding out, well, damn, I'm really off this much or whatever. So I like it like that. I feel like you need competition like that, bro, to make you better.
That's a fair argument. What do you think? What do you think, Chad?
Yeah, I'd go red on that because a lot of the same reasons that Chris and Miles mentioned. This one, it helps the races. It helps the racing. Like the Cup guys are more in tune to pull out and make a move, where you might have some truck guys or Xfinity guys be more timid and want to sit in line, when the Cup guys will push the envelope more with the draft, and it'll help. And really, like Miles was saying, it's a good measuring stick. Daytona, you're not going to see a whole lot of that. But I kind of like the deal of them letting Cup guys run, whatever they want to during the season. Just don't let them run their playoff races.
Or the Dasher Cash too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. So for Daytona, I would greenlight them only running the Cup race because a lot of times, and my reasoning for it is a lot of times you see the bigger guys go down and do what Chad just mentioned. Like they'll be the ones to make a move. They'll be the ones to push the issue. And we've seen it before a lot of times where like you'll get a Cup driver going down that's obviously very, very good at plate racing, very good at bump draft and stuff like that, and starts heavily pushing on maybe the lesser experienced guys, and ultimately leads to more wrecks and junk tore up race cars. Outside of Daytona, I am, red light, let them run whatever series they want.
All right.
But I think just for Daytona, and there's usually so much carnage to begin with anyway, is like, you can't tell me right now you don't think Corey LaJoie is going to go down there, and if he has a fast truck, he's going to be bumping and moving everybody at that point. Try and win that race at that point.
Oh, the trucks will be beating the crap out of each other out there Friday.
Oh, agreed. But then, like, you got guys who are way more confident in it, the ability of what those things will do, and absolutely, pushing through the corners, stuff like that. You'll get like somebody like LaJoie or somebody like they'll go down and like he'll push a guy all the way through the corner. Well, that guy getting pushed may not like that or be comfortable with that yet because that's why he's in the truck series.
Hey, but you signed that contract to do a job. It's a race and
True.
do whatever. So whatever comes with it, you got to be able to halter with it. But I'm saying like this though. I understand what you're saying with the Daytona stuff, but I don't want to bring that part. I would say when you bring the top tiers into the other series, it bring kind of a view into that too, so it kind of like helps them out. So I can see the business part of it, but as a competitive side, I don't want to be just in a group with guys that's learning just like me. I wanna have somebody in there that actually shows me like, okay, this can be done. You can push through the corner like this. Oh, this how you did it. It's like. I know some people feel different and some people feel the same way, but when you're in that race car, you signed up to deal with it. If Gordon's jumping that car in front of you, you're going to have to push him or get ran over. It is what it is.
I understand the business aspect of it and the clout of racing again, as a truck series guy getting to race against, a Cup Series driver.
Mm-hmm.
I completely understand that. I just look at it from an experience standpoint of the Cup guys, obviously way more experienced, know what they're doing for the most part. Going down and just pushing guys that may not be ready for what's about to happen at that point. Like just the inexperience level and the possibility of leading to wrecks, somebody getting hurt, stuff like that. That's my only reasoning for it, which is why I said outside of like Daytona, I don't have an issue with them running down at all.
So what do you think about like Matt Crafton and some people like that? Like truck drivers that been racing trucks for the damn near whole.
If they've never gone up, they've never gone up. Like you can't tell me he'd go out. Grant Crafton, you put Matt Crafton in a Cup car this weekend. Is he going to do anything at all? Probably not.
Well, I mean, the example of that was the 500 when Kyle Busch broke his leg. He ran that car.
But he's still gonna race with. He's still gonna be the one that's gonna be aggressive, pushing like that, doing all the things you were saying, just because he been there for so long.
See, that's the thing though, is he has the know-all of who's in that series, right?
Yeah.
He knows who to kind of like beat on a little bit, lean on, stuff like that. He knows like who, he's racing for points at the end of the year too. So he's not just gonna like beat, bang, door slam, shove through the corner like everybody and their mother to do it. He's gonna wisely choose what he's doing. Whereas the Cup guy that's there just to win that race is going to have a completely different aggression level and mentality at that point.
Yeah.
Because whoever put Corey LaJoie in that car, or whatever, at that point, Aspire, they don't care if that car comes home. They want the win. And if they think he can do it, because obviously he's came really close in Cup Series a couple times to winning, they're gonna like they usually do even with their cup car. They're gonna take the reins off him and let him just go eat. Well, that truck don't cost nearly as much as that cup car to do. So they're gonna want him to learn every possible thing he can. That you can transfer to the cup race in that truck. So for them, it's checkers or wreckers at this point. And that's just circles back to my whole point. So like I said, for the broadcast part of it, for the cloud of it, for the star power and the other drivers, I get it, 100% agreed. Yeah, let them run. From the financial safety, aggression level standpoint, that's where I have the green light on making them stay up for the plate race. But that's the nice thing about this is we're all entitled to our own opinions for our own reasons. So
that's fair.
Those were the only two things I had for red light, green light this week, though. So
that's good.
Good topics.
Yeah, that was good. As I guess we should transition in. I know Telder's got a race to go run here. Qualifying started for the 500.
I have 2 minutes. I have to go. So
you haven't logged in yet? Anyways.
I have not.
He's going to log in now. He's switching computers. You hear that, right? So going to his computer 2A to get signed in. Anyways, Chad, let's get to know you. He's been sitting here all patient for 2.5 hours. And
he is. Oh shit! I dropped my keyboard.
On the computer 2B now. All right. So Chad Coleman runs at Sim 500, and he has made all of 1,179 starts entering tonight. Obviously, yes, sir.
I'm sure Chad has a really great story about Sim 500. I have to ask him one thing before I bounce out of here.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chad.
Yeah.
You can only run one car and track combo
yes.
on iRacing for the rest of your career. What would it be and why?
Tradition Telder here.
Recently, I have found that probably the most fun I've had in iRacing, racing recently, has been the super late model.
I'm at half staff right now. Continue.
About any of the 1.5 miles.
Those are ironically fun.
Like it's by far the most fun I've had racing. Like we run them on Tuesday nights. Well, we did. There's one race left, but it's at Michigan. If y'all want to run, y'all can come race next Tuesday. Get with Dalton. He'll get y'all signed with Tyler Dalton. He'll get y'all signed up. But dude, that car is an absolute blast, and I think the reason it makes it so much fun is there's not a bunch of the aero shit dumped on that car. So you don't have to worry about getting behind somebody and just getting aero plow. So it's so much fun. It's as fast as the Cup car at most tracks. It's a lot of fun.
Wasn't the super late model the car that they had on TV during COVID that Bobby Labonte made like a last lap pass at Michigan?
I'm not 100. It could have been. I just know that car is by far the best racing oval car on the game right now, in my opinion.
Calm down over there, Telder.
That answered my question. So with that, I'm going to take my happy smiley ass because he said super late model is the best car in the sim. And I am going to go run my short track super late model League of Five Flags.
You said they didn't run 5 flags.
Sarah does not run 5 flags. My short track league that I run before Sarah does.
Oh, good one, Telder. Anyways,
we'll update you. But Chad, nice to meet you. Miles, Skala, we out.
Peace.
All right. So Chad, obviously, I don't even know where to transition here to get back to that topic. That's a Telder tradition he started with Kevin last week, and Kevin said the same thing, by the way. Super late models. I think he said, what track did he say? Atlanta? No, I don't remember. He said a 1.5 mile track, but let's get to know Chad. So where did obviously, I assume you were born in Georgia and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, a Georgia boy, so typical there. So where did the racing come into play for you? What got you into racing when you got started?
I was born into it. My my uncle raced, so dirt and asphalt with Lanier and there used to be a dirt track in Athens. I mean, I know you've lived in Georgia, so down in Athens where the Sam's Club is in Athens. There was a dirt track right there for years, and then they bought the property and closed it down. But there's a dirt track down there. He raced there, and he raced Lanier when it was dirt and asphalt. And from the time that I was born, I've just been going to races. Done a little myself with with some enduro stuff and had fun with it. And we went to a couple of NASCAR races and stuff. Just I've been around racing my whole life. And then my uncle about 06 or 07 got a wild hair and decided he wanted to see if he could operate a racetrack. So he went and bought one, and we got into it, and I helped him in every way I could, and started flagging probably 08 or 09, and we went strong with that until 2022.
So you mentioned your dad doing some racing. Was Gresham on that list too?
It was my uncle, but
Or your uncle? I'm sorry.
Yeah. He ran it was Peach State Speedway at the time. But yeah, he ran there, and he ran Lanier, and he ran Lanier when it was dirt, Athens when it was dirt. He ran Hartwell, Livonia, Toccoa, all when dirt, and he of course ran Athens, Winder. We've raced all over this state and into South Carolina. And he raced, and his cousin raced, and I mean that's just we were all born into it. I was born into it, and we've pretty much I've always asked people. I was like, I don't know what to do on Saturday nights during starting around March. Starting in March, on Saturday nights you go to the racetrack.
Right.
I've never knew any different. So, I mean, a lot of times Friday nights too. Friday, Saturday, if we was at a racetrack, didn't know what to do if we weren't, unless it's during football season. Play football and everything. So Friday nights, that was taken up during the seasons. But as far as Saturday goes, I don't know what other people did on Saturdays because all mine were spent at a racetrack.
Talk about that first time. You mentioned a little bit of driving you did. Talk about that first time you got into a race car and that feeling you had.
It was so much fun. I had wanted to do it, and they were having these big enduro races and stuff where it's $100 to enter, payback and full payback and everything. So we went, and a buddy of mine was racing 4-cylinders for. We went out there and pulled a car out of the weeds, put a motor in it.
Oh God, don't let Telder know this.
And we took it and raced it, and I was running probably 4th or 5th out of probably 30 or more cars at the time, and it had rained a lot that week. And we was actually at Winder.
I was gonna say, what track?
And it was at Winder, and they had piled some dirt up against the outside wall in turn 3 because water was running over the top of the wall and across the racetrack.
I'd say it rained a lot then.
Yeah, I got in there on the outside of a guy, and I got up on that and got the right rear in the wall and stood in the gas because that's what my uncle told me to do. So when I did that, next thing I know, it went straight up the damn wall, and I rolled down the damn turn 3 and 4 on my roof.
That's a different definition of riding a cushion, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it climbed right on up there and went right on down.
And from there, the racing bug was born.
Hit the gas.
Oh my gosh! How many starts roughly did you make, in a car like that, or in just all together?
I don't know. Over the years, it's been a good bit. We liked it, and then racing, just like everything else, it got expensive, and then my uncle got the racetrack, and after that, we all became racetrack employees. Like my cousin raced for a little while, his uncle's son. He raced for a while, and then got the racetrack, and like I said, all the driving stuff got put on hold, and everybody just started working at the racetrack.
Nice. And then, of course, with that track up there in Northeast Georgia. So you decide to you get up there and you start, officiating and that kind of thing. How tough was it to like say, man, I really want to be down in those cars right now, but now I'm sitting up here just waving the flag or whatever job I got to do at this moment.
Yeah, it's always that you want to race. It's just knowing that financially you can't, and then the stuff that goes on with that, and then it's just then you work on a bunch of friends' cars and help a bunch of friends, help them do it and help them build cars, and now all of them are pretty much sold all their stuff off and gotten out of it. So I guess it's just a cycle. When I was 19, 20 years old, I never imagined that I would I'd be coming to a point in my life to where I thought I was about done with racing. But even with sim racing, it's what I've told Joey. He's like, how much longer are you gonna do this? I was like, dude, I don't know. I said maybe another year or two, but there's no telling. I mean, it depends on how life goes. Like recently, we've had some stuff take place, and now me and my mom are raising my niece and nephew. So where there's life happens.
Right.
So you do different stuff, and I've been offered different jobs with different racetracks, and one or two with some touring series to go and do some officiating stuff, and basically turned it down so I could be closer to home. And luckily, Winder's not very far from the house, so I went to work for the guy that owns it. His name's Stephen House. He raced with us a good bit at Hartwell, and I got to know him. He's a pretty good guy. So when he said he needed help, I jumped on it. It takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to get to Winder, and so that's where we're at.
And with Winder, so if you ever go to a race Saturday night on Winder, you'll probably find Chad hanging around there or doing whatever. Probably wearing a Georgia Bulldog hat and doing all the things. You're the race director there, right? So you control what happens, when the flags need to be thrown or everything going on, the whole entire event, correct?
Yeah, we basically is to do the drivers meeting, try to get people where they need to be, and as far as the racing and stuff goes, it's basically between me and the guy that's flagging, whoever's doing the flagging. We basically once the race starts, I do a receiver deal, and basically what receiver is one way communication between me and the drivers. Everybody's got a receiver that's on track, so pretty much you're spotting for everybody that's on the racetrack at that point. So if there's a problem in turn one, then you're just telling everybody, there's a spin in turn one, go high, or go low where the track's blocked, just stop.
Right.
and stuff like that. And I mean, basically, yeah, I mean, when you're on receiver, you're pretty much a spotter. So I mean, you're on your toes the whole race. But we have a lot of fun doing it. There's a good group that I work with up there, and I've come to really enjoy it. I loved flagging. I never thought I did. And then when we were racing too, the first guy who caught the shit was the flagman, because all you had to do was go to the fence and it's right in front of you. So there was a lot of times where I got bitched at when I was flagging, but I mean, I always done what I thought was fair. And it's like I told guys when we'd do our driver's meeting, they was like, well, why'd you do this? And I'm like, look, I'm not playing favorites. I said, I'm an equal opportunity asshole. I don't like any of it.
That's fair. That's awesome. So, just to remind people, dirt races, mostly you do not have spotters. So
no spotter, no mirror.
Chad's the guy. That's your spotter right there. Or obviously his crew, which I still find that weird, because I mean, dirt racing to a point is closer racing than asphalt racing is, because you're all over the place.
Yeah, in Georgia, there's been a rule for years to where you weren't allowed to have a mirror, even in a late model.
Right.
I mean, in the Carolinas, you can have a mirror, but in my opinion, a mirror in a dirt car, basically, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to use it to block? I mean, that's basically all they're for on asphalt. It's something that, where you can see behind you. If you're looking behind you, you're slowing down already. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Wow, I didn't think about it that way. So obviously, all this. And then while this is going on, you are picking up the hobby, or maybe you've always had the hobby since you were a kid, of racing on video games. And you said earlier that obviously Pole Position, which is the first game that I think anybody knows of, that on the Atari, which I remember blankly every time I played it, I just drove it into the wall or whatever the side of the track would be at that point. Obviously, it's Bell at NASCAR. You had the Kyle Petty games, the Andretti game, which I thought was really cool for Sega.
Yeah,
that one.
The Andretti racing game was fun with the IndyCar and their NASCAR part of it.
And the sprint car.
Yeah.
That was on there. But
Dirt to Daytona is still the best console game.
Yes! Yes.
Hands down, best console game ever, Dirt to Daytona.
I always debate that with people. They're like, no, Thunder 04, 05. I'm like, no, you did not play Dirt to Daytona. So, I mean, you get into a, was it like a Chevy Monte Carlo, I guess? And you get out there on the dirt and you're racing on it. And then you get into the truck series, a modified. I mean, you go up the ladder and that kind of thing. But what was that bug? Like, what got you into the video game part the most?
Really, like, we would just, I mean, even from like Mario Kart and stuff, me and a buddy would just, our cousins we would sit around and just, we didn't have nothing to do better outside. If it was raining, we'd play video games. If we weren't playing video games, we'd go outside and race something in the yard, whether, we all had yard carts and different stuff when we were doing that. And I raced yard carts when, we had one. I got a go-kart for Christmas when I was like 5 or 6. And my, I guess he would be considered a cousin, but he built a go-kart track in his front yard, like a legit go-kart track. It was paved. Okay. A paved go-kart track.
Like a Dale Jr. type thing.
So, yeah. And so we went down there, and I was like I was like probably an 8 to 10-year-old kid racing a bunch of, 30-year-old men on a yard cart, and for the most part outrunning them to the point to where they went and bought racing stuff. And it was fun. My grandpa was like, you're not bad at this. So they took my go-kart and done some more stuff to it, built a motor, and that's kind of where the racing deal started. The other stuff was console stuff. We were just playing around, but the online stuff was absolutely just happenstance. We went to me and a buddy went riding around. We were in Athens. We went into, at the time, I think it was what was that called? EB Games.
Ah, yes.
Used to be. They had a bin full of computer games, PC games.
Yeah, because back then it was EB, and it was and obviously you had Blockbuster and stuff for rentals, but for buying games you had EB and GameStop. Those were the two. Mm-hmm.
But they had a bin in there, and they had NASCAR Racing 3 in the bin, and it was like $20. Mm-hmm. So
for the PC, yeah,
I bought one, and we went home and I had just an old computer that was just a piece. It was.
I think we call that a potato now.
It was so bad, and I sat down, and it said multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I told him, I said, you can race with this controller I got, and I'll figure it out with a keyboard. We joined in. I was like, well, damn, you got to make a name and all of this stuff. So I told him, I was like, I'll make a profile. We'll be all right. So we go in. We log in to Sierra Lobby at the time. And at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I shit you not, there's like 20,000 people online.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is this? So I was like, well, it's like both of us can't play at the same time. So we join this random server. It's at South Boston. So we go in there, and all these guys are racing. And I had no idea like what I'd gotten into. But we go out there, and we start the race. We didn't get in time to really practice. We got in, and we was on the grid. And I couldn't get the car to start. And I was sitting there, and I was basically panicked, and I didn't know how to get off the racetrack because, of course, we didn't read the directions. The pace car comes back around on its second pace lap and hits me in the ass, and it knocks all 4 tires and wheels off this car. And the rest of the field is just piling into my broken car. and they're like, dude, get the hell off the racetrack. And I'm like, I don't know how. I didn't know how to type to respond or anything. But that was my first adventure into sim racing. So luckily, it's got slightly better since then.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Now, NASCAR Racing 3, that game you had the Cup Series and the Busch Series at the time. You could run both cars. There was no Daytona because Daytona until like 2000 didn't exist on any video game.
There were some guys that turned Talladega into Daytona, but there was no actual Daytona because Daytona's track license was bought out by, I want to say Sega at the time.
Because Daytona USA, probably.
Yeah, I think Sega owned the Daytona license.
Interesting. And so obviously this gets you going. Like it goes uphill from here, I guess. And so obviously from there you get it into the NASCAR Racing 2003, which people argue to this day, and I cannot. I fully agree with this 100%. Outside of iRacing, it's the best sim racing game of all time.
Oh yeah,
you probably still cannot find that game for probably cheaper than $200-$300 anywhere.
Yeah. And the thing about that is I had kind of caught wind of people saying that they couldn't find it. So there was still, I think it was GameStop in Athens at the mall. It was still open. We went in there and they had like 10 copies.
No way.
For $20 a piece. I bought every one of those copies and sold them
I don't blame you one bit.
$150 a copy on eBay.
Oh,
Holy
yeah.
Cow. That's an ROI right there.
Made a killing. $1,500 on a $200 investment.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And basically, if I'd have held on to them, I could have probably got $200 a copy.
Oh, yeah.
Because people just got desperate for it right there at the end.
Oh yeah, especially when Papyrus's deal ran out, and there was, I mean, iRacing was, I think, just getting going with its whole first thing and just getting launched. So, but that was the game like everybody would go play, or simulator, I should say. But I mean, but all the mods that you could do, you could run almost anything on this sim, run any track. I remember a buddy of mine, I remember they released, I think it was Kentucky. And he had found the mod and they put it on there. And I'm like, the guy's name was Tony. He's the one that got me really into sim racing and stuff. I mean, I'd always played the console stuff, but then the sim racing was this guy named Tony Irwin down in Florida. And I'm like, this Kentucky looks like a gripped up Vegas. Because at the time, Vegas was a flat mile and a half.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool and fun, but the game, I mean, still to this day is one of the funnest. You still got some NR 2003 leagues out there that go, and you see some of the broadcasts out there on YouTube and people having fun with that. But needless to say, this leads you into running into Sim 500.
Yeah, it did. I got into Sim 500, like I was telling you earlier, with the original guy who had it at the time. His name was Brian Cogan. And we were all racing some lower leagues in there, and I had a buddy that was running over there, and I told him, I said, anytime you can get me a shot, I said, I'd like to run in that league. And the guy he had driving for him, I think he had a kid, so he quit. And that's how I got involved with the original Sim 500. And then that deal, he kind of took the money and run. So that deal got shut down, and the guys we was racing with on Sunday nights, which happened to be AKM, they took Sim 500 over and to run it on Sundays and Mondays. And a lot of it went from there. And we ran over there for like 3 years, and we'd run 3 nights a week, and it was a blast. Met some great people. I mean, that's honestly where I met Beasley, Pedro, Josh Parker. I mean, that's where I met all those guys. Most of the guys that are in our channel every Monday night, that's where I met those guys from, was over there. So, I mean, I haven't actually gotten a chance to meet any of them yet because Beasley's now in Ohio and Josh is in like somewhere in the communist states of New England, but he's way up there, and But yeah, we haven't really got a chance to meet yet. But I mean, I've known them for 12, 13 years. And so, I mean, it feels like, if you met them, I mean, you already know them.
Right.
You know them so well. Like every time something's happened in their life, you've heard about it. So I've known them forever.
So you get into that, and then you get into this league also. Was it GSR? Is that what I believe you said it was called?
Yeah,
And
we're in GSR.
GSR. Talk about that, because this, I mean, the story is amazing already, but like just how everything went, how the racing you guys did there, because you happened to get across some guys that, for those who are older like I am, been on iRacing for over a decade, a lot of pretty popular names ran here.
Yeah, GSR was pretty much like DWC at the time, or Coke. What's Coke now? It was pretty much like that, except it was in trucks. And the league was owned by Scott Granberg. He had done a great job and spent a lot of money with that league. And but yeah, I mean, I had Josh Berry, Ray Alfala, pretty much a bunch of anybody who's run Coke in the last 15 years, until just recently probably was in that league at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a blast, and it was all open setup too, and it was tough. Like now I hate running open setup because I don't have the time to build a setup or the want to. At one time that was fun to me. Now not so much. I would rather just come in, sit down, practice for 10 minutes and go race. But yeah, and then after GSR kind of dried up, a buddy of mine started a league up that had been also in 2K3. It was called Ascourse, and it ran for a year, and it also had a bunch of pros and stuff in it, and it was toxic. I mean, there's no other way to explain it. It was toxic. So it didn't last long. It lasted about a year. So all that information was sitting there. It was just sitting there wasting away. And this is where the Joey deal is going to come in. Joey got in touch with me actually through, like, they had brought back Midnight Thunder. Midnight Thunder has been a staple in sim racing all the way back to the early years of 2K3. And I just happened to be in there one night, and I was like, hey, I recognize some of these people. And it was some of the old guys from Sim 500, the old Sim 500 AKM days in 2K3. Mm-hmm. And we got to talking, and Joey was having some issues with the guys he was racing with in another league, and said he said I'd like to have a league that competes with this other guy, with this other league, and you think we could do it? And I said, well, let me talk to a buddy of mine. I was like, we got a league that just got shut down, and I said, you basically got an outline here of how to start this league. And after about a week, we had everything ironed out, and Sim 500, as we know it now, was born, reborn, rebirth, however you want to say it.
Mm-hmm. Something like that, reincarnated. Mm-hmm. So that's so cool to just see where it all started and to see where it's at now. But obviously, from there, you become one of the first drivers, and you guys develop into this 7-night-a-week league now in 2024, yeah. And you've made 1,000 starts. I mean, is there any specific like race or time in this league that kind of catches your eye? It's like, man, I remember that was so cool, or that was so funny, or whatever.
There's been a couple of moments in races, but I just like right off, I can't really pinpoint anything. I just, because probably all of it runs together so much. But I think I got like maybe 12 or 15 more starts in Sim 500, and then I'll surpass anything I ever did official racing and iRacing, and I've been a member of iRacing since the end of 2010 or the end of 09, one of those years, 09 or 10. It's been in iRacing 13 or 14 years. So, I mean, it's not like at Sim 500 we're running multiple races a day.
Right.
It's, I run Sunday and Monday, And then I never ran really Tuesdays, and then I run one of those super late model races, and I was like, damn, that's fun. So I kept going back to that when I had a chance. And then we brought the Xfinity Series back, which used to be on Wednesdays, is now on Sundays, and now the Truck Series that's been around forever is part of the Wednesday deal. And then I run Midnight Thunder as much as I can because once racing season starts, my Fridays are kind of up in the air. And yeah, that's it. So basically, right now with iRacing, I run maybe four races a week, and that's about it. That pretty much, does what it needs to do for me to be happy still racing.
You remember your first Sim 500 win?
It was more than likely in Midnight Thunder, and I'm guessing probably either at Atlanta or Super Speedway. But remembering it right off, I do not.
No, okay, I just figured. That's and you're talking about the Midnight Thunder iRacing or the Midnight Thunder 2K?
iRacing.
Okay, because I know 2K3 apparently when you guys were there, apparently there was a Midnight Thunder and you guys ran some kind of redonkulous track.
Oh, Midnight Thunder in 2K3 was awesome because with that game you had all these fantasy tracks because you had people that could mod tracks and make whatever you wanted to. So the Midnight Thunder there consisted of like the Joe Gibbs Speedway, which was like an 8-mile super speedway, and it was an absolute blast. And then we had these figure 8 tracks that had like either a tunnel and a bridge that you'd go under, and they were high bank like super speedway type deals, and there were so many cool tracks in there that you didn't have to go and run Michigan or anything like that. You just went in there and ran a fantasy track and had a blast. I mean, that's all it was for. Like most of the time, our Midnight Thunder is over there. Hell, when I got into Midnight Thunder over there, most of the time I was wasted.
Which would make sense.
We would get on there just completely shit-faced and race, and it was a blast.
Can't say I've never done that before. But the one thing that catches my eye, because I don't know, obviously I've run some Midnight Thunder and actually won a race, luckily, last year in it. But the video Joey sends me, and it's got this Emerson, Lake and Palmer song on it. And most of the video I see, there's this ramp. I don't know what track it is, but it looks like you take the green, you turn left in turn 1, and then you jump this ramp.
It was probably like actually called Daytona ramp or something like that. There was all kinds of Daytona versions to where you would get launched.
And I'm like, Mike, and like, I don't know if it was AI that was with you guys or if they were all drivers, but it seemed like every time you guys land, they wrecked.
I don't remember the names of these tracks, but there was this one track that we would run, and you would go flying down the straightaway, and you would drive straight uphill. And it was like a roller coaster. You get to the top of that hill. If you didn't hit the brakes to stop, you would just keep flying. But like you'd hit the brakes and go down the other side of this hill, and then it was basically like just a regular racetrack.
Wasn't there the original NASCAR racing game on PlayStation? Didn't they have a track similar to that? Where you go through, I think it was like a high bank corner, and then you went down this hill, and your car would like peg 9,900 RPM or whatever. You're going 220. And then back up the hill into this left-hander or something like that. I'm trying to remember. Anyways.
The only other game I could think of right now that's got neat stuff like that in it is Wreckfest.
Ah, okay. Interesting. So
David Reagan just beat Jimmy Johnson in qualifying to lock in.
Look at there. And Reagan, yeah, that's another name for the 500, by the way, sleeper. I mean, not that. I mean, yeah, and you know what? He's running for Roush too. So Roush RFK, that 60 car. So wow, that's impressive. Yeah. So obviously, you get into Sim 500 here now to make 1,100 starts, about to hit 1,200, and not to mention adding all the NR 2003 starts, you're up to like 1,500-1,600, as you said.
Yeah, probably so.
You ever sit back and kind of think back to like, man, what in the world have I done here?
Yeah. At times I have, but man, I've met some people I consider, that I haven't met, but I've talked to for so long that it was like you've met them. I've met some really cool people that I consider, close friends. Like I've mentioned before with with like Beasley and
Mhm.
Josh Parker, of course with Pedro, and with people like that. So it's been a fun ride.
So I guess I should ask, where did team name come from?
Honestly, when the servers went up and when we come from TeamSpeak to Discord, and Joey was like, here's some admin stuff. You can make your channel if you want it. We were in there, and I think it was just me, Josh, and I don't remember who else was in there with us. I know me and Parker was in there. I was like, what if we just left the channel name team name? And Josh was like, do it. He's like, just team name. And so, I mean, that's where it came from. It was just, I was like, what do you think? You want to leave it team name? And he's like, do it. Just team name. I was like, that'll work. But I made a slight change to it for Wesley the other day. It's now team name with WBD Diecast because
I did see that.
Everybody in that channel now, pretty much, that races, majority of the Monday series, everybody in that series is driving a WBD car. And that kind of came along when Joey asked me, he's like, you got anybody sponsor your cars this year? And I said, no. I said, I was just thinking about driving a default setup once the new Forge or something come out. But then everybody I seen was driving the Ford, so then I was like, well, I don't want to drive that and drive the same thing as everybody else. So we drove the Toyotas, which there's not many of. And he's like, well, Wesley's looking for somebody to, put his diecast stuff on, since he's helping sponsor some of the stuff this year with Sim 500. So I was like, okay. So Beasley and Josh didn't have a car painted. And they were like, who painted your car? And I said, Wesley's painting mine. And then when he got done with it, I was like, look, he didn't do a bad job. So then they go to Wesley and get cars painted. I thought they were both getting stuff painted with their own deals on it. No, they come back WBD stuff on it too. I was like, told Wesley, I was like, damn. I said, now you said you got me in here with the Three Stooges. And then Kevin the Brown's like, I need a car painted.
Fourth one.
So here comes Kevin. I was like, oh God. So yeah, now we're all out there doing the WBD wall bang.
I joked with Wesley during the class, or it might have been the duels. I said, Wesley, you have literally pulled off the political game in Sim 500. I mean, you have been for the whole entire time since the merge with GOAT, which that happened, in 2023. You come over here, you hang out in the Sim 500 Mafia channel. So you've got those 10 drivers, we'll call it. And now you've sponsored the team name channel, which is those 10 drivers. So you come to Daytona now with 20 drivers that will easily push you to victory lane, likely.
Yeah, he's going to have to come off of that. He's going to have to pick one.
I'm like, dude, you've got this politically done correctly here. So, man, that's good stuff, man. And well, obviously, it's been fun to be a part of 100, I think, of your starts or something like that, and getting to know you. But yeah, the some of the funniest stuff in the world is the post race stuff. I mean, if I could stream it legally, I mean, I could, but it wouldn't be good. It could almost be its own post race show. Is the fun that you host most of the time. I know some people share the videos or whatever down in chat, but you guys literally, and Joey brought this up once, how you guys are able to come together as a league after destroying each other or whatever, being pissed off and cussing each other out, but that you guys can come into the same channel and review the whole entire race and all the wrecks, all the stupidness, the ARCA breaking, the what was this guy doing type of stuff, and laugh about it.
Yeah, pretty much what we've told everybody with that deal. If you come into that channel after a race and you done something stupid in that race, or you may have done something stupid in that race, don't have thin skin. because shit's gonna get rough. And if you start complaining that we're making fun of you, it's gonna get even rougher.
You don't, and it does, because I mean, you will sit there and I mean, there's so many wrecks where I mean, you'll sit there and break it down per segment or whatever, and literally watch a car arc or break its way from like turn 2 at Daytona when the big one happens in turn 4, and he finds a way into the wreck.
You're that guy. You're definitely getting called out.
Exactly, but we've seen it, and
unfortunately, yes, we have definitely.
But that's so cool to be able to, like, I get done with the broadcast and I've actually been to a few times. I'm like, I'm gonna go down here to the party and see what's going on. And it's even gotten to a point where now I'm on the air and I'll look around when like a wreck happens and I'll look for something and I'll make a note of it. Like the recent one I brought up was Wortman at Phoenix in the Sunday race where I mean, the whole entire lap, you guys are running 3, 4, 5 wide, battling for like 10th. And there's a wreck behind you in turn 1. Then you guys go down the backstretch, they wreck in turn 3. Wortman gets spun in turn 2. And it comes down the back straightaway. And apparently didn't know there was a car stopped in 3. It just pile drives the wall and barely misses the other car. And I'm like, Chad, you gotta go see this. And I'll make a note of it, like Wortman turn 3 or something. And so it's like we go look at a video, I'm like, Chad, in case you didn't see this guy did this or that here. I feel like an arc, but hey,
we try to have some fun with it because during the race when you're racing, everybody's in a competitive mindset. So when you do something stupid, most of the time you're gonna get cussed at. And
especially in that league, I mean, there's times I'll do stuff in the other leagues I broadcast. I'm like, man, I can't do that in this league. These guys are too. I don't want to mess them up. But look, man, I'm gonna let you go because I know it's been 3 hours of your time that I appreciate and we all do. And I knew you were one of the guests I was wanting for a while because the fact that you've done so much sim racing, I've gotten to know you a little bit, being that we lived close to each other there for that short time, and the stuff you do around Georgia at the tracks there, it's cool to see somebody be able to do something in one league. We don't see leagues run 100 races total, and yet you've done 1,000. Almost 1,500, if you will, in one particular league. And for somebody to be committed to that kind of thing is cool, man. And that's why I wanted to get you in here and put you on the podcast. And I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and going back to those starts, I mean, Sim 500's probably ran, I would say, maybe 1,250, maybe 1,300 races.
Wow.
And I mean, a lot of that's due to, even as much shit as we talk about him from time to time and give him a hard time. Joey's done a great job with this, still keeping it together because, like you said, there's a lot of leagues where you don't see them have 200, 300 starts in their whole series, like before it's done and over and done with. So, really got to commend Joey on keeping Sim 500 alive and keeping it going for as long as he has. I mean, it's not that easy to keep a league going when you're, balancing and stuff and then trying to figure stuff out and trying to, keep certain stuff straight and keep people happy. So it's a job sometimes, and he's done a great job with it, keeping it going as long as he has.
I'll leave you with some numbers here before. So 1,245 drivers have started a Sim 500 race. You have, what was the number? I think it was 197. We'll get to that number really quickly here of winners in the league history. Yep, 197. So 3 away from 200 winners in series history. And that's just on iRacing, oh, by the way. There's probably more of that over on IR 2003. That probably puts it over 200. Now, obviously, the wins category, Daniel Falkingham, Fuller, those guys got you covered there. But when it comes to the top fives, you have over 100 and actually it's exactly 160 top fives more than anybody. You have over 235 top tens than anyone else. Those are numbers that probably don't get touched.
Yeah, I mean, some of those are by volume, but like still, when you look at most of the series that Sim 500 has, there's some nights to where finishing 8th or 9th is pretty good run.
Right. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. And to just look at the miles, it's 175,000 miles you've ran on iRacing in this league. I mean, how many trips is that to the moon?
I don't know how many laps that is around the ball we live on, but
yeah. I mean, you've run 116,000 laps on iRacing in the league. So those are just numbers. I mean, that's kudos to you. And you mentioned Joey for keeping this league together. And remember, this isn't just a league that runs seasonal, that does like 15 races, takes a little break, runs 15 more races, takes another. No, you guys run the full set 35 races on Monday nights. You got 28 on Sunday because of football season. Trucks run 30 or so, whatever, on Wednesday night. Yeah. You guys run full out seasons. So it's a 2024 season, the 2023 season. It's not season 1, season 4A, season 5B type things.
Yeah.
So, man, that's cool to be able to share that stuff and be able to broadcast your races, man, and the whole league. That's the part that makes it so much fun, is I get the honor of doing it now, along with other broadcasters in the league. So,
yeah, and I'm glad that Joey got hooked up with you too, because you do a hell of a job for what you've done, with pretty much with just with you, and then having the commentating help on Monday nights with Kevin and stuff. You do a damn good job for a one-man band.
I appreciate that. So hopefully keep getting better just like you do and just like the league does. So, but man, hey, I appreciate your time. Go watch the rest of qualifying, and I hear cars in the background. So, best of luck, obviously, come Monday in the 500K. Looking forward to maybe putting you back in victory lane. That would be kind of cool.
That would. Hopefully we can win a race or two this year. We had some close ones last year. Just need a little more to get it on in there.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. Chad Coleman joining us here. I think the other two have went to league racing. I know Telder's gone, and I think Miles took off too. So, yeah. I guess we're just going to go from here. Might check the sheet, make sure I didn't miss anything on here. But I appreciate Chad, obviously, for joining us. And, of course, Sim 500 Sunday and Monday nights. They'll be back on Sunday. Hopefully the rain doesn't play a role in the 500 that blocks the race. I mean, either way, it'll happen. But who knows with what could play a role with that, and so on and so forth. So let's see, Daytona 500 picks. We did that. Everything's good. So yeah, we get to go home. So let's do that. Appreciate everybody for joining us here on episode 6, the Ironman of course, Chad Coleman, the Ironman of Sim 500 here on the Skala Cast. Next week, we'll get another guest. We'll review the Daytona 500 and get into the full NASCAR and racing season now, as it officially begins with qualifying literally going on right now at Daytona. So Telder usually says this for me, and I think he'll be okay with me saying this. My usual ending quote, Telder likes to say, it's not just a podcast, it's a Skala Cast. We out. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain Esports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.